Welcome to Hollywood Impact. I'm Eric. This is Christian.
Yes, and we are back. It's been a while since we've done something together.
It has been.
And today we're doing 1923.
Yes.
Which is in the Yellowstone Universe. It's a Yellowstone Origin story. It's directed by Ben Richardson and stars a lot of people like Harrison Ford, Helen, Mirren, and I'm going to try to get these right. Julia Schlafer. I'm sorry if I butchered that. Brandon Sklenar, and I'm going to go with Amina Nieves, something like that. Stars a lot of people.
Please forgive us for the mispronunciations. It's no disrespect, but
no, we're
some
just
tough names here.
Yeah, it's some odd names. We like to break things down into 4 categories, and that goes the performances, the story, the atmosphere, and the impact. And of course, this is an episode of Stream It or Skip It, so we are going to tell you whether this show is actually worth your time. Is it worth streaming, or do you need to skip by it? We're going to find out. Let's go ahead and start with the performances. I think the performances are pretty stellar in this show, actually.
I don't think there's anybody that really drags it down. You know, you look at Harrison Ford here. He's 82 years old. You know, he'd be at the point where he could just phone stuff in, but he does not.
No, like he's good.
He's solid. I mean, it's
really good.
Otherwise, he's solid. Helen Mirren's solid. No, this entire cast, I was really impressed with.
I think Harrison Ford and Helen are probably the 2 best performing characters in this show. And I was like a little shocked because like they could just easily just phone it in because they have huge, like massive careers, and they absolutely just take it by the reins.
Yeah.
No pun intended. I mean, they are the stars of this show, other than Spencer Dutton, played by Brandon Sklenar.
Who is by far like the coolest Dutton.
Oh, because
this dude's awesome.
He's basically John Wick, but like a Dutton is what he is.
Yeah, this dude. He kind of bulked up a little bit, I think, for season 2.
Yeah,
because you can see that in the earlier episodes where he's in these little fighting matches and stuff. But I'm afraid that if I see him without a beard or mustache, it's gonna lose the appeal. So it's like I think he's forever gonna have to have a beard or a mustache. It's kind of like our episodes that we do when I don't have a beard. I'm like clean shaven. They're not any good.
What do you mean they're not any good?
I don't know. I'm just trying to compare myself to Spencer because
he's like, I'm trying to find something.
He is a man.
He is like the doodliest dude I think I've seen in television in a long time.
Yeah.
So I mean, besides Rip Wheeler, because Rip is pretty.
Rip's something
he's a lot like Rip. I think it's because Yellowstone, they have to have like a Rip type character because now they've set like a precedent for this ranch always has that one guy who you don't want to mess with.
Yeah.
And for this show,
in this show, they're worried about once we get Spencer here, everything's going to be fine, and all the bad guys are scared to death of Spencer.
Yeah.
So I mean, he has to be kind of that,
He has to pay off. Like that storyline has to pay off.
Yeah, and this actor that plays him, I thought he did an excellent job.
Also, shout out Jerome Flynn as Banner. He is like he's in Game of Thrones, and I think he's really good in this show. He is almost as good in this show as he is Game of Thrones, and I love Game of Thrones. So shout out him because he is an underrated actor for sure.
I think Timothy Dalton needs to be mentioned.
Oh yeah,
I thought he was really good.
Yeah, I mean he was
evil.
I mean super evil.
But by the way, he's an underrated James Bond. Like, he was really good as James Bond. It's older, late 80s, early 90s James Bond, but he's good. But in this show, like...
he's the businessman.
Yeah, and when he's having his meetings with the investors and stuff, like, I'm sold.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sold on his other stuff he's doing. But as far as, like, I'll invest in this ski resort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other stuff, not so much.
Right. We're going to go ahead and move on to the story because we're going to try to knock a few of these out fairly quick. The story is probably one of my least favorite parts of this show. This is where it really dipped in and out for me. There are a lot of storylines here. There's a few major ones. Spencer and Alexandra, who are basically fighting for their lives throughout the entire show. Jacob, who's trying to make sure he doesn't lose his ranch and trying to get revenge on Jerome Flynn's character. So those are like the 2 main ones. But the third one is about this Native American girl named Tiana and her bout with the priests and the nuns of a school that she's going to. And that third of the show, because it takes up quite a bit of time in the show, in my opinion, is basically worthless. It's interesting at first. It's extremely brutal, and the brutality of what's going on is almost overwhelming and almost takes me out of it. But also, every time that her character came back after stuff happened, I didn't find myself interested in seeing where it led to. I found myself more interested in the other two storylines by a mile. And I don't think it's super good for your show to have an entire subplot that if you take it out of the story, completely almost doesn't change anything. And so, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it.
I think it might have been better if it was its own show and could have been fleshed out a little bit more.
Sure. Like a short 4-episode miniseries.
Yeah, because I think her story is definitely worth telling. And I think it's probably very accurate as to how Native American females were treated.
Sure.
Back then, with the schools and all that kind of stuff too. But yeah, I see what you're saying. It was, her part almost took you out of the rest of the main Dutton story. But
correct.
If I think a shorter season that could just focus on her, I think that would be kind of a cool maybe future show, maybe with Tiana's ancestors or her kids or whatever. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's an interesting part, but
it wasn't fleshed out enough.
No, it wasn't fleshed out, and it feels completely misplaced in the story because I stand by. I mean, there's a couple of connections, of course, but for the most part, if you take it out of the show entirely, the rest of the show doesn't change.
Yeah.
And so in that case, it is hard for me to not think about that. And so I'm like, I would rather this be separate, be a separate story, because I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the Yellowstone. That's what the show is about, is the family of the Duttons and not other people. That's what I want to see. So anyways, that's just my, I guess, hot take for it, I guess.
Yeah, no, like I said, that makes sense. I don't think there was really any interactions with her character and our other characters at all, were there?
No.
I mean, there was some, yeah.
She had an interaction with a character in the last few episodes who had an interaction with one of the main characters in one of the last few episodes.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, I agree. I think if it fleshed out a little bit more and we had more time with her, but I thought those three, they're on their quest to get away. I thought it was good while it was on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did kind of take away from the main story, which the main story, like you said, it's about saving the ranch.
Yes.
Which is Yellowstone.
Yep.
Its main story is just saving the ranch.
Sure.
But
and the ending didn't do it for me. The ending kind of frustrated me, and we'll get into that when we get into spoilers, which there will be spoilers, and I will put the mark for when that happens down somewhere on this screen, all right? So if you want to see that, go ahead and see that. If you don't, stop it before that point. The atmosphere is really good in here.
Yeah.
The set pieces, super cool. Seeing the Yellowstone Ranch in its early stages is kind of interesting. Obviously, it's not nearly as fleshed out or as large, but you still get to see the house, and it's cool to be like, wow, the window hasn't changed since then. I'm like, that's kind of cool. I like stuff like that. And the music choices, just the environment of what it makes America seem like an actually dangerous place.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love that. I think that's cool because Spencer spends a lot of time overseas, and he's basically so different from everyone else around him. And then when other characters try to get to America, they start to realize, oh, America, because of the freedom of the place, it also means a lot less rules and a lot less cohesiveness. So everything's really chaotic, and anything could happen at any given time. And that's a scary thought, but that is how the world is.
Well, it makes me thankful for my ancestors that had to go through those times.
My ancestors.
And the 1883
the grubs
times.
in the 80s.
Well, because I don't know that I could, me, I am not about that.
about what? About
the 20s, just the way life, we have it good. Like we live in
We
a
do.
really good time in history, and people can complain about it all they want, but at the same time, I'm not worried about freezing to death in a car.
Yeah, oh gosh.
I'm not worried about snakes and just people. I mean, it's just a different time, and that my people that came before me that survived all of that, so I could be here.
Same, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I could have done it.
Yeah, I mean, that in seeing like the immigration process like firsthand, it's like, oh, some of this is some brutal stuff.
Like when Alexandra first got to Ellis Island, she's going through that, and I'm no historian, but I think that was probably pretty accurate for what a female traveling alone
was going through
and had to endure. And it's like, oh my gosh, because you don't think about stuff like that.
And there's a lot of exactly, you don't think about it, and they show you things in this that you don't think about, and sometimes you don't need to think about. But part of the atmosphere, and this is both a good thing and a bad thing, it is so detailed. They are very detail oriented, and because of that, they show a lot of stuff that I had to physically just look away from. I'm like, I can't watch this, or had to skip this scene. There's some brutal stuff in here. There's like sexual brutal stuff. There's all sorts of things that if that's not your thing, then you can skip by it and still get the gist of what the show is about. But if you're just completely appalled by it in every sense of the word, like you just can't have it on, then this is not the show for you.
You're talking about Whitfield, right?
Yeah.
That stuff, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's not just that. There's so much killing. There's a lot of death in this show.
Yeah.
And the deaths in this show is different from Yellowstone because they're more like savage and brutalistic in nature.
Yeah.
And so this does not feel like the same Yellowstone. It feels like a primitive Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the impact, which, if you don't know what that is, that's something special to us. Are fully like kind of fleshed out, in-depth thoughts, opinions, all of it. Its lasting effects, its rewatchability, all those things conglomerated into this category. So we're going to go ahead and talk about spoilers. So spoilers here, spoiler warning, you've been warned. Let's get into it. I hate the ending.
Why?
I don't like that. There's something very frustrating about Alexandra dying that ruins the show for me.
Really?
Yes, because the majority of the show is following their relationship. The ending scene is pretty much for their relationship, and she suffered so much that it's so brutal and so overwhelming that it was so hard to watch. To see it end in such a brutal fashion and for her to die at such a young age does not feel satisfying to me. And in fact, it frustrated me and deducted quite a bit of points for me.
I get what you're saying. I do.
He's like, I get it, but you're wrong.
I get it. Well, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying that there were so many deaths that just I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm with you. I mean, she went as a character. I think her whole journey back from what the life she led before that, before she met Spencer in season 1, and everything she'd went through, it's like, can this chick not catch a break?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just as soon as you think she does, when she meets that British couple, and they're like, oh, you're like, finally, someone's going to take care of her and get her there. And then bad things still keep happening. Yeah. And when I was watching it, I wanted that happy ending too. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, we're not always going to get that happy ending.
Sure. And it's not yes, but it's not like I need a happy ending for everything, because obviously Infinity War is one of my favorite movies of all time. It has a horribly sad ending. There are a lot of pieces of film and whatever that end badly that I thoroughly enjoy. This is not one of them. And I think it's because the ride is so up and down, because they can't catch a break with anything, it almost just feels like a slaughter fest. And at that point, to me, it's a little disrespectful, because that's not what it markets itself to be. I know that America at that time was like a brutal place, and I know the world is a brutal place, but I feel like a lot of the deaths were forced. a lot of the deaths did come out of nowhere, but I think they were mostly for shock value and not because they actually progressed the story.
Yeah.
Like, Jack died. Jack gets shot in, like, the next to last episode, or maybe the last episode.
Something like that.
And it's, like, never mentioned until, like, at the very end. They're like, oh, where's Jack? Oh, I guess he's dead.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that where I'm like, you guys didn't ask that before? Like, I know that, like, the wife said, well, I don't know where he is. It's like, well, you probably don't need to worry about it. And it really took that took me out so bad, because I'm like, now people are just dying left and right, and the one person that I thought deserved to live died.
Yeah.
And that's like, that's some George R.R. Martin Game of Thrones type crap, but even George didn't do that, because even at the end of Game of Thrones, the main characters of the story are still alive. So if that's the case, why kill off one of the two main people you're following from the very first episode, the most involved you're in with a relationship? And I'm a romantic guy at heart, so that might make it worse for me, but following that to the end and getting the rug ripped out from under you is not satisfying. It is horribly frustrating, because I feel like I wasted my time.
Did you watch 1883 yet?
I have not. I'm not.
So there's a history of, like, either Dutton females or females that have married into Duttons that just don't make it. And I don't know if he's just... I didn't mind her. I didn't want her to die. Don't get me wrong.
But it didn't frustrate you.
But it didn't frustrate me.
I see.
Because I watched 1883. Because at first, the death in that show frustrated me.
I see.
So I didn't expect it. I didn't predict it. I was rooting for them the whole time. But I just think it's just fitting with the story that they're telling. It
fits in with the theme of the story because of the brutality.
Yeah.
But that would make more sense, I guess, from my perspective, if someone like Jacob died. Because Jacob's 80-something years old. And it's like, oh, this is like his ranch and then his final outing, and he's giving it to Spencer and his wife to take care of and remake and whatever. But instead, Jacob lives, even though he had a near-death experience twice and escaped. And Alexandra had a near-death experience about 17 different times and then died. And that does not feel like good storytelling to me.
But the dude that got his head drilled through, he made it.
Yeah, he made it. Yeah, you see, he's like cross-eyed for a second. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but like he's like, well, I can't see out of this eye, and I'm like, he's dead. No, he's not.
Nah, he's totally fine. He's
So-
going to be in a gunfight here in about 10 minutes.
There's just, on the other list of things I didn't like, besides the Tiana and the priest storyline, just didn't really. It was interesting, but not in the setting of the Yellowstone story which they chose. Way too much sexual, nude, and brutal content. Yeah, it just became too much for me. I've seen it in a lot of shows, and in most cases, like, I can just brush by it. But in this, it was too much. It was too much. It was too brutal, and I get it, that stuff like happens, but I don't think it's good to be showing your audience things that are just way too explicit, because then you're getting into like the pornographic stuff. Like, it actually like can become like your show can become porn for other people, and I don't think that's right.
I think it's probably just to show how ruthless the Whitfield character was.
I think you can effectively show that without showing everything.
You're such a prude.
Whatever.
No, I know
Whatever.
I know what you mean, but that way there's no most characters, there's a little give and take. You can see some good, like in Banner, but I think this guy was supposed to be the ultimate big bad, and that there's going to be more big bads to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Dalton did a great job in portraying that.
No, he did. He introduces the threat of tourism to Montana.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really interesting concept, and I like that they bring that in. Jerome Flynn, shout out him again. Like, it's just so good to see him and stuff, and I think he's really good because near the end, he's like sitting in a corner, and he's like, I'm not a bad dude. Like, yeah, I'm not a good man, I don't think, but like I'm not an evil guy. I don't really want this. I didn't earn it. I didn't earn my wealth. I'm just a tool, and I don't want to kill everybody. And I know Jacob has his flaws, but Jacob's not a bad man either.
He's not an evil man.
Yeah, and so I think that those are good things. That's a good storytelling thing. His arc in the show, I think, is actually really well done. So,
you know what line I really liked with Helen Mirren, Kara?
What?
So she does, I don't know, she does something like awesome. She does so many cool things in this show.
That's like every episode.
And one of the guys was like, they just don't make women like that anymore. And she says something to the effect like, no, they still make women like me. It's the men that have changed. And I know
that's a good line.
I know I'm butchering that. She does it so much better, and I think it's worded a little bit different. But I think it's something that is a problem with American society, even today. I mean, she's saying that in the 20s. In the 2020s, I think we still have that problem. Like, if men would just be men. And I'm not talking about we got to be super macho, whatever, give me that, it's mine. I'm just talking about men handling their business and taking care of the people that they care about or that rely on them. And if men stepped up to do that collectively as a whole in this country, I think a lot of problems would be solved. And that's just something that just stuck out with me. But I love this show.
Yeah.
I love that this show exists.
Mm-hmm.
It's season 1 and 2 and 1883. I've got a short list of shows that every few years I try to revisit. Mm-hmm. And this is definitely going on that list.
I see.
Just because I like, I can get past some of my nitpicks were like, that wolf doesn't look real.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I don't care about stuff like that.
But I can get over that really easily. But just the fact that we have this show makes me happy. And I know we don't always get the happy endings we want. But still, just to see how, like Alex, how strong she was and how she got through everything that she did.
She's a great character.
To finally get to see Spencer again and to deliver their child. And yes, it's heartbreaking, but I just love it. I love this show. This show is so good.
So for a streamer skip, you say stream it.
Definitely stream it.
For a streamer skip, I'm gonna say skip it.
You are out of your mind. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I don't want to go down.
You're gonna
this road
say,
again.
hold on a minute.
You're
gonna say skip 1923.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor to be a part of this show.
Would you shut
up? You're out of your mind. I have never disagreed with you more.
Dude, I love
skip 1923.
I love Skeleton Crew. And you said to skip Skeleton Crew.
Who gives a shit about Skeleton Crew?
Because it's Star Wars, and I was like, you know what, that's fine. You have your opinion.
Gosh.
And but I have my reasons why. And it's not even just because of the ending. The ending is a bad thing, but Game of Thrones has a terrible ending, and I love the show. But when you have an ending like that that's unsatisfying in a 2-season show, that feels like a blip of time that I kind of wasted a little bit. There are great elements about this show, but the core elements, the inside, the storytelling, I don't think is that good. And I think that the ending just lost me. And probably the biggest portion of why I say to skip this show is because I feel like when a third of your story is dedicated to a storyline and character that I think is unnecessary, it is hard for me to say, yeah, you should stream it. But just so that you know, out of the 2 seasons that you watch in a 2-hour finale, a third of your time is basically going to be worthless. I don't like that. And I don't think that's fair to do to people.
I have no words.
That's fine.
This is one of the first times I have no words unless we went another 45 minutes.
I don't think we're going to go.
But for you, I would say don't watch 1883.
I might not. I don't really think I have an interest in watching it. Yellowstone is a good, like, lightning in a bottle type thing. And I think fleshing out the universe too much is going to start having problems. And I'm starting to see it right now. So it's really close because my philosophy is if I rate the show a 7 out of 10 or higher, stream it. But on the things that I rated this, it ended up being a 6.5. And so I can't reasonably say, yeah, this is absolutely, go watch this right now, worth your time. I'm saying you can watch it if you want. That's your choice. I don't think you need to. If you love Yellowstone, you don't need to watch this show like for absolute certainty. I don't think you need to. I think it's a nice little show to have on the side with some elements that are interesting, and it pays homage to certain things, but I don't think it's a necessary watch.
This is a show that you can watch and enjoy and not have ever seen the original Yellowstone show. You could watch it and you could enjoy it, and you could really like it. I completely disagree. I am 100% stream. It's damn near a 10. It's not a 10, but damn it, it's close. This show is phenomenal. Like the emotions you go through watching this show, the rooting for the characters that you go through, and you don't always get what you want, but this show is 1000%. Stream it, put it on your list to watch in a couple of years. I can't wait, because I think we're getting probably a 1944, and I will be watching that, and I can't wait for that to come out. I hope they kind of keep doing some of these shows until they run up to the present. But no, Christian, I respect your opinion.
I appreciate you saying
but
that.
But I disagree.
He's like, I'm absolutely appalled, upheaval about it. No, that's totally fine. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for having the opinions that I do. But I can't help but be honest, because when I went to bed, I was frustrated, and when I had a whole night's sleep to think about it, and this morning, I still feel the same way. And so if it's been a little while, I'm like, you know what? It's an okay show, and for me, an okay show is not enough to warrant. Yeah, go stream it right now. It has to be a good show, a great show, or an excellent show. That's the way I view it.
We always encourage the audience to comment. I implore you to comment.
Are you starting a war with this right now? I mean, hey.
I mean,
I'm good with it.
Let us know, guys.
He's like, I can't stand this guy
I just
anymore.
have no words at the moment. I'm sorry.
It's been a while since we've done things together, and I just go ahead and rip the rug out from under you.
I had no idea. You're out of your mind. That's the only thing I can say. You're out of your mind.
I might be. Who knows?